Your favorite toy truck nerds are back. Welcome to That Scale RC Show.
Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to episode 114 of That Scale RC Show. I'm your host Adam alongside with Jay and Travis. How's it going, guys?
Going good.
It's going.
It's going. Do you still feel old?
I do feel old every single day. My bones remind me.
It smelled like medication, and what was the other thing you said?
Oh, it was a life squandered.
I squandered. You never responded to what I posted.
What'd you say? I forget now.
I said, "Oh, you forgot to add, and smells like Ben Gay."
Oh yeah, Grandpa, time to put on your ointment. I'm so bad at social media. I'm just shitty at it. Like, you know, you're one of my closest friends and you're like, oh, did you see that thing? I'm like, huh? Like, it's so bad trying to keep up with stuff. I'm just really bad at it.
Yeah, I get it.
Sorry. It's not that I don't care. It's just that I don't care.
It's not that you don't care. It's not me. It's you.
Right. Oh man.
Yeah, it's all good because it's basically your fault.
I'm fine. Yeah, I guess we can just go straight into my poor me bit for the show. I've been working on, so I got the 6x6 finished that we've had sitting on the shelf since like 2020. Like when they first were discontinued, I found like a new inbox one on Amazon that was just, it had been returned, you know, and so like that was the only way I could score one in a box. And so I had bought it and just kind of left it sitting on the shelf above my desk for like a couple of years, just debating whether or not, you know, I wanted to do anything with it. Cause like part of me, you know, like the part of me that's like excited about scale stuff really wanted to drive it, you know, because I wanted to see what it was like, especially on like steep stuff, just because it's got, you know, this monster wheelbase and then, you know, 4 rear wheels putting power down. And so like it probably was pretty good as long as you didn't have to turn the thing, you know? And so I, you know, there was like the enthusiast part of me that really wanted to drive it. And then like the prudent me going, no, you know what, just sit on it. Maybe you'll want to sell it. If you do decide to sell it, it'd be worth a lot more if it's never been ran or anything. And so after several years, I finally decided like what I was going to do with it. So I built it up and everything and took some pictures so that I can, you know, have those to hang on to and look back at, because it was kind of a fun project to do, you know, with all the detail and stuff like that. And so I got it wrapped up finally. And then the next project is trying to get the Operation 11 Charlie Ecto done, because that's been just sitting for a really long time on the back burner and it shouldn't be. And so I've been working on that, and I'm now on my second body because the first one was a botched paint job. I painted the inside silver and then the outside white, you know, so it would scratch and show like metal and stuff. I was like, you know, that'll be cool, you know, so it'll kind of get, you know, weathered and kind of a patina thing and rock rash going. So, you know, I thought that would be cool. Well, I don't know what happened, but the matte clear that I did over the gloss white on the outside didn't stick. And so when I'm laying down the decals, I peeled it up to reposition it and like the paint came up with it. So I was like, God damn it. And I had painted it before I came across a really, really good adhesion promoter because I've tried several. I've tried like Bulldog, and I wasn't really happy with it because it was really blotchy and stuff, like it wouldn't spray nice and fine. And so you would have like kind of vague looking like spots in the paint, from it going down bad. And so I switched and tried Duplicolor, and that was pretty good. Like that worked okay. I've tried using Tamiya flat clear because people have been like, oh, that works really well. And like I've scuffed and then done flat clear and then paint. And I've had that flake on a monster truck body I did. So I've been messing around with like all these different ways of being able to use plastic spray paint on polycarbonate, which it's not typically made for. And so the flat black that I use on everything is really, really nice paint. Like it sprays like a gun, and like it's just really good. And it's made by this company called SEM, and they're an automotive finish company, and they do like vinyl dyes and like dyes that you would like recolor the dash and interior parts and stuff like that. And so a long time ago when I was in high school, when I was building this Mazda lowrider I had, that was when I first came across SEM stuff, and I had used their adhesion promoter back in the day. And it's expensive stuff. It's like $30 for a spray can. And so I was like, all right, well, you know what? I'll try it because their flat black trim paint for automotive stuff, for whatever reason, the formula is awesome and it bites onto Lexan really, really well. And I've never had the black flake off of anything, and it's not a Lexan paint. And so I ordered their adhesion promoter, and the first thing that I tested it on was that red and white Tekin Fiesta that I did. And it just turned out awesome and adhered really, really well. So I did that on the second shell, but the first shell, God, I can't believe I said that. I hate that word. The first body that I did, the paint was lifting, doing the decals and stuff. So at one point I sanded the whole body down and reshot it, got everything laid down perfect. The decals, like I got them positioned right. It didn't lift any paint. The very nose of the body I had done flat black, and I had taped it off with just regular green automotive, auto body 3M masking tape that, you use for painting cars, and taped off the nose, got the body painted white and everything. And then I go to peel off the masking tape, and it lifted the black off. The black didn't bite onto the white that was underneath. So that's after I've got the whole body stickered and like ready to go. The only thing I needed to do was like hot glue the cage pieces and stuff in, and the screen mesh and stuff for it. Like it was totally ready to go, decaled up, and the nose, the paint lifted off of it. So I was just livid, so I was like, all right, I'm going to come back to this a different day. So I spent some time looking at it. I was like, all right, well, I guess I can try and sand the nose down and paint that, but who knows, and it's like, no matter what, like I don't want some sort of like paint failure when this goes to the end owner, whatever they end up doing with it. Like I just, because that will be a Facebook post like, yeah, we got this car that SOR did for Operation 11 Charlie, and the paint's coming off, like that's just like the worst thing that could possibly happen. And it would be posted to social media somehow. So like, it's gotta be right and flawless. And so this is actually the third ecto body. The first one I did, I accidentally tore when I was doing the score snap method for cutting it out. I tore it trying to get one of the windows out accidentally. So then the second body, that one never even made it to paint because it tore when it was clear. The second one's the one that had the paint failure. And then the third one I got cut out perfectly, really, really nice, sanded every edge on the body that I had cut so that it's all just super, super smooth and nice looking. Get all that done. And today I go to hot glue it, and the hot glue burnt through the paint in 2 spots. After I got all the decals and stuff done, totally ready to go, I get the mesh and everything hot glued in, and I'm doing the cage pieces. It's like a vertical bar that's in each window, and hot glue melted through the paint.
Oh, jeez.
And like it gets expensive because like, you know, like I'm not using like Patreon money for it because it's, you know, it's like my screw up. So I'm not, you know, and plus like Patreon only for the show, it only lets you take all of it out. Not like, you know, I need $20 out of it to buy a new body. You have to take like all of it, which I don't want to do because we're trying to save up. And so, yeah, it's just been really frustrating, but I'm on the home stretch now. I figured out what I'm going to do. I'm basically just going to have to decal over those two spots with something I'm adding to the livery, and I'm just going to have to go with it. But yeah, originally the thing was going to be matte, but it actually ended up being gloss, which I'm kind of stoked on. Like I'd painted a lot of black like detail lines. Like there's a raised ridge that's on each side of it, and then down the center of the hood that's like molded into the shape of the body. It's supposed to be like, you know, molding or whatever if it was a real car. And so I painted all of those pieces black. So it's like a lot of like white and black contrasting. And then I used that kind of teal color for the 22 a day flag / you know, ribbon color, I guess, that people use. Mm-hmm. And I did all the accent pieces like the roll bar and the back and the interior cage stuff. I did all of that in that color. So it actually looks really, really good. So I'm hoping that I'll probably have it finished up tonight, and then I'll do pictures of it tomorrow and stuff. And then probably do a feeler post to let people know that like it's done, and be like, hey, you know, if you're a business and you want, you know, your product on this thing before we ship it off, you know, this is kind of your last chance. So I figure I'll give it like a week in case somebody wants in on it, you know, to add their parts to it or whatever, their product. And then we'll ship it down to California to their dude that handles receiving and giving cars to the vets. So nice. That's what's been going on in my world last couple days.
It kind of reminds me of like I have like a similar story when I put the 10-3 together. I mean, I didn't go anything crazy with the paint job. I kept it super simple, just did the logo on the door, all this and whatever. And I forget what I was. Oh, I think I was rushing to do the sliders. So I had to tack them in place, and I was doing all the welds on the bottom side, so that way I could I can hide everything. So I had the car upside down on a towel so it wouldn't scratch the lid, and I'm welding the final pieces on the sliders, and a little spall, whatever, comes off, and I see it go into the body. I was like, no, and I picked it up, and like I turned it around. It burnt right through and made this like weird little like crater on the hood on the one corner. So I was so mad. I was like, what am I going to do? So I grabbed one of my MKS stickers and I laid it over it like it was like a sponsor sticker. And it was funny. I was giving Thomas crap because he was out at Axial Fest that year. And he goes, I really like that Jeep. He goes, super clean. I like how like the only sticker you put on there is MKS. And I said, what kind of He goes, what do you mean you had to? And I said, there's a spall underneath there. I had to hide it. So he goes, oh, so you had to put it on there. And I said I didn't have to put it on there, but I wanted to put it on there to cover the spall.
Dude, I hate welding slag like that. I've had that, you know, like DC shoes and skate shoes and stuff, how like the tongue's all puffy. And so there's usually a lot of, have you ever had one of those pieces of slag go like in your shoe? Dude, I burnt the shit out of the top of my foot with one.
So I did that one time and it went, it goes right through the sock. I had another one. I have a pair of my Dickie shorts that are completely on the thighs, or completely just look like I got blasted with a shotgun. There's so many little holes from doing that welding, and then it hits you, you're like, oh shit, and you're trying to like, dude. It's pretty bad. And then your other paint thing reminded me of on my 94. We've had a really wet winter, and the early GM paint is not the greatest, because that's right when they switched over to water base. So if you get a lot of like standing water, it'll lift the paint off the primer. Like it's
yeah,
bad.
I've seen that, like big gray spots on.
Yep.
Usually I see it on white trucks.
Yep.
For whatever reason.
So my 94 is white, and I had this like little like quarter, like about a quarter size right by the door handle. It like, it kind of like just like flaked off in one of the rainstorms. So I was kind of like pissed, but I'm like, all right, whatever, I'll deal with it when the weather gets nicer. So I'm like, okay. So we had our first batch of like decent weather. It wasn't warm or anything. We just didn't really have a lot of rain. So I was like, all right, I'll give the truck a quick wash. I'll let it dry for a couple hours. I'm going to touch it up. So I go through all this trouble. I'm using the delicate masking tape, and I'm like following the spot like as close as I can. I'm like, taking my time, mask it all off. I get in there with a little bit of sandpaper, scuff it up. I have the little touch-up spray can, and I'm sitting there and I do like a couple light little passes. I let it dry for like 30 minutes. I go to remove the delicate tape, and it peels more paint off and left the piece that I just touched up behind. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, is this really happening right now? So then I was like, all right, let's try this again. So I did it again and followed like the bigger spot that came off, and the same freaking thing happened again. And I just called it quits after that. I said, I'm not doing it anymore. It's making it worse. I'm leaving it alone.
Isn't it funny too? Like, I was just thinking about this, when you're talking about like, yeah, this is when they switched to the water-based paint, blah, blah, blah. The average person that's not like a car person, they would probably be so baffled that you like retained that piece of information. Like it's so funny, like the little things that we hang on to or know about just from being into cars and stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, in 90 whatever is when they switched it, and like most people would just be shaking their head like, how the hell would you, like, why would you remember something like that? You know what I mean? But anyways, what I was gonna like lead into was, when you're dealing with all of that, like what is your like operating procedure for rage? When something like there's like the stop and like walk away, there's the throw shit at people or things.
Who do you
like,
take it out on?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, it depends on what it is. Like that being that it's like a vehicle, it's a truck. I don't want to like make it like way worse than it has to be. So I typically just walk away and just like suck it up, just deal with it. Like if I have done this before, like if I'm trying to like make a bumper or I'm doing something, or even like I've done it with, the worst is with vinyl stickers. If I'm in the middle of peeling something out or weeding something out, and all of a sudden, like I've had it where like you're pulling it and then all of a sudden it slips and it falls back down. And you're like, no, and you pick it up and it just totally ruins everything. I've taken the whole sheet and just crumpled it up and just throw it in the trash, like out of pure rage. Like I just get so mad, and you're just like, even though I probably could take the time and salvage part of what I just threw out, but I'm just so mad at the moment that I just crumple it up and just throw it out. I've done the same thing, like I said, making bumpers. Like you weld something and it doesn't look right, and I just get pissed, so I just cut it off and I just toss it in the trash. Like I don't even like look at it anymore. So
I have to give it a day. Like for me, it's like just stop, walk away, we'll come back to it tomorrow. Like I've done that with a lot of stuff. Like I can't even tell you the number of times I've been in situations with vinyl, like what you were just describing, where like I'm weeding it and a piece that's like, let's say around the outside edge of a sheet of something that I'm doing will like fall down and touch other stuff that's been cut. And then I'm trying to like get it to separate, and it's taking the stickers off the sheet. And with stuff being packaged for retail and everything, it's like it's next to impossible to put a sticker back and like get it to fit perfectly in the cookie cutter shape it was cut out of, like it's just, yeah, I feel your pain with that. I've been in that situation way more times than I want.
Yeah, so I don't know, that's it. I mean, otherwise, like, I mean, even like when I'm working on things on a house, like if something just isn't going right, it doesn't make sense to like be all like super, rash and harsh and just throw shit and, destroy it. I usually will just walk outside, go walk around a little bit, then come back and then just like reevaluate.
younger me would throw shit. Older me has learned a little bit more self-control. Same level of anger and frustration, but just how I process it has changed. So yeah, I mean, as bad as I want to throw stuff, I don't anymore, just because that usually ends up costing even more money.
Yeah, I know how that is. And then you go, oh, this just cost me more money because I was just impatient and didn't want to,
We've seen
try
people
and salvage it.
rage quit racing and throw radios. We've seen that quite a bit. That actually happens more often than you would think.
So funny that you say that, because when Kyle was younger, I want to say like when he was like between the age of like 12 and 14, when he used to get like, that was like his like peak competitive video game time. I used to tease him because I go, dude, would you get hungry in the middle of the night and have a snack with your remote? Because like his remote had like chunks of plastic missing from banging it on the edge of the dresser, because he was pissed because he lost or something happened or whatever. And like there was like at one point he was playing with I remember he had one Xbox remote that it was missing a whole side. Like he actually had to hold it funky so he could still use it, because it was missing half of the controller, because he smashed it, and we told him we weren't going to go buy him a new one because he destroys him because he can't control himself. So we used to I mean, he was one of those. He was bad. He actually, when I gave him, when he was around that time, I gave him what was it, the Nintendo, I don't know what it was called, but it was the one where it flipped open.
Must have been one of the DSs or something.
Maybe that's what it was. It a DS?
Which I forgot even existed until you started talking about it.
I can't remember which one it is, but I had it. It has to be an older one. I'm gonna have to look now. Nintendo Game Boy stuff, because it was one that I had from like a long time ago, and they're still making games. I forget what he was playing on there, but he'd get mad and he'd smack it, and it would slam the screen shut. And one time he did it, and he completely severed it in half. So he would play on it still, but he'd have to leave. Like it would work, but he'd have to leave the thing on his lap and hold the other half, because I don't know. No. You really enjoy playing with like your stuff that's all broken.
Stuff like that's weird. Like my dad never like talked about how to process stuff like that. Like if you got into that situation, like I've only seen Travis get like throwing stuff mad, I think once, but like with me, it was just, that little conversation with dad probably would have saved me a lot of frustration later on, like, hey man, just come back to it. Don't get so mad that you gotta smash it up. Just know when to stop when you start feeling like you're getting angry.
So funny. Okay, I just looked it up. It was the Nintendo Game Boy Advance.
Jeez.
Yeah, I had that thing for like ever, because I forget. I think I got that in like, I want to say beginning of like high school or something like that. And I forget for why I got it. And so I gave it to him when he was younger, and he smacked the crap out of it. But what's funny is I'm just looking, just to see what it was called. Nintendo Game Boy Advance Onyx, which was the exact one I had, renewed it or refurbished, $241 on Amazon.
Oh my God.
I could have made some serious coin off that thing if I would have just kept it myself.
Dude, I have the first Nintendo Entertainment System. I still have the box for it.
Really?
Yeah, we bought it at Kmart when I was probably in the 5th or 6th grade. Pretty crazy. But yeah, no, I still have all of my original Nintendo games and console and everything. It all works perfect.
Nice.
I wonder if it's worth anything.
It might be, especially since you have the box.
That's what tripped me out, is that I've had the discipline over 30 some odd years to hang on to it. Actually, yeah, probably close to 30 something years. That's crazy. That is a long time.
Yeah. Well, that's like I keep going back and forth, and I probably shouldn't say this on here because then I'll probably get blown up. I still go back and forth about whether or not I should keep that almost ready to run that's still sitting in the box, the axial one.
It's hard to keep things in the box. Like
Well,
I have like Halo stuff that I've collected that like I'm tempted to take out. Like, I don't know. I'm bad with that stuff.
Well, I mean, my whole thing is I'm not tempted to take it out. It's just that it's like I keep seeing it sitting there, and it's like I know I'll probably never run it because it's it's been in the box that long,
Yeah.
But it's like, do I get rid of it? Do I not? I mean, I had one person when we actually went snow wheeling. This guy Chachi who lives up in Chico, he hit me up. Yeah. He didn't hit me up. We're out wheeling and we stopped for lunch, and he goes, "Do you still have that axial that you got from CKRC that's in the box?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah." I said, "Sitting up on a shelf." And he goes, "If you ever want to sell it, let me know. I'll buy it off you." And I'm like, eh. And like that's when I got kind of like it started like thinking like
Getting tempted.
do I sell it?
Yeah.
I mean, as long as I got what I paid for it back, I'd be happy.
Yeah, but then it's like, are you gonna regret it later? I mean,
well, see, it's kind of like the same thing. Like, so the other day, somebody posted in the Axial RC crawler page, saying that they were looking for an old dynamic concepts blazer body for the Wraith, and they're like, "I know this is a long shot, but do you know? Like, does anyone know where I can find one?" And I happened to see the post, and I was like, "Hey, I got one of those." And he goes, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I got one of those. I never did anything with it." I said, "I got the pieces." I said, "The only thing it's missing is when I bought it, because it was even hard when I found it, I was like, I don't have the tailgate piece. So you're going to have to figure out what you want to do with that. But I have the body, I have the grill, and I have two grills. I have the I have the Chevy version, and I have the GMC version." So I said, "That's how I bought it. That's what I got. Don't ask me, if I have anything else, because that's all I got." And he said, "Sold. How much do you want for it?" And I didn't lose my ass because I think I paid like 80-ish bucks for it when I found it 5-6 years ago. I sold it to him for 85 ship.
man.
But it was one of those, like, I was like, I'm not going to do anything with it. So having it did nothing for me.
I have a Viterra blazer body that I'm in a situation like that. Ty had given it to me, and it's like, I'm not going to sell it because he gave it to me, because like that'd be messed up. But like, I kind of don't know what to do with it. Kind of just been leaving it with no idea. Yeah. And that was a rad one too. Like that was one with like the molded chrome grill and everything. Like those were nice.
Yeah. So I don't know. I go back and forth about certain things. I don't know. I'm at a point in my life where it's like I'm trying to semi-liquidate, because it's like I got so much crap, and I'll just, and it's like I know I'll never use it.
Yeah. It is kind of freeing to get rid of stuff, though. It's like getting rid of clutter in your life. Like people say, like it actually does like make you feel better, though.
Yeah.
Long pause.
Well, I'm trying to think of like
dramatic pause.
We're just gonna have Jade just narrate everything we do now.
That's when Adam knew shit had hit the fan. Shall we go into questions now that we're through crying about everything that we don't like?
Sure.
I wasn't crying. You might have been, but
I was. 3 ecto bodies, I'm crying.
Well, now that you're done crying, do you
Yes.
want to get any questions?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Let's see. I'm pretty much just going to read the ones that were actual questions.
You don't want to read the comments.
No, I don't, because it's going to be, I mean,
Okay.
people post pictures and stuff like that. So
This is a picture of.
yeah, the prompt that we had posted up was, how far does your scale RC hobby extend? Is it just, is it just limited to crawlers / trail trucks, or do you have an interest in 1/10 scale, touring car sized cars as well? A lot of cool responses, people posting up their different pictures and stuff like that, and also to like some people kind of counting off what they have in each scale. So yeah,
I am genuinely interested to know like how many people because like the drift scene, for example, like no matter how lame it kind of is, like there's a lot of very, very scale builds, and so it definitely is like the same geek out level that us crawler guys have. So it made me curious to know like how many people actually like cross over into other stuff. And because like for me personally, like it's shifted to anything scale now is fun and cool, where it was just rock crawlers before, so like now it's like all kinds of fun stuff.
No, I agree. But yeah, let's see. First one's just going through Facebook. First one's from Chris Trudeau. Did Jay make it out to the Olympus rally?
No, unfortunately. It was dumping rain. Like I saw a lot of video and kind of followed along online. And as much as I would have wanted to, it would have been a wet, miserable mess.
Yeah.
But we've got the Oregon Trail Rally coming up, and they have like they call it Park Expose, which is like the kind of, if it was Dakar, they would call it the prologue, I think. And so it's kind of that same thing where it's like meet and greet, check out the cars, check out the teams, drivers sign in hero cards, things like that. They have that happening. I forget which day, but that's actually going to be at Portland International Raceway is where Oregon Trail Rally kicks off. So, which Trav and I are kind of debating whether or not that's something we wanted to check out. It's not this coming weekend, it's next.
That'd be fun. Chris
has absolutely no excuse not to go to that. I mean, it's like right in his backyard.
Has Adam made any, also from Chris Trudeau, has Adam made any progress on his SCX Pro, and initial thoughts now that he has had one in his hand?
I'm curious too, because we've all heard him talking about, man, do I keep waiting or do I cancel it? And then he gets it finally. And what happens, Adam?
Nothing.
Exactly.
The big letdown. No, I mean, I was excited that it actually showed up because, I was actually expecting it to come in the date that they had changed it. Because I don't know if I've, the last time I've told you guys about that, the saga like continued. At first it was like, oh, it's going to come in April. Then they moved it from April like 18th to like May. Actually, I think it was supposed to be like this week. It was like May 12th or something like that. And I was like, oh, okay, well, they just keep pushing the field goal. So we'll just, just wait. And then all of a sudden, what's his name? I'm drawing a blank on his first name now. But anyways, Rich Trujillo. He put up a post in SCX, the pro owners group, and said, I want to thank everybody for, the tremendous support with this release. You guys completely blew our expectations. We thought that we nowhere near going to sell out like we did. And we just want to let you know we got another batch, and that will fulfill everybody who's waiting. And next thing you know, I had an email saying that it was shipped. So I was like, oh, that's cool. And then it showed up like the following day. And I put it on my bench. And then I think later that afternoon, my body showed up, which is the actual pro body for that, which is the same body that's in all the release photos of it. So I have everything, and I know Scooter's been pushing me to get started on it, and he's even giving me a hard time. He's like, "You might have to send out the whole thing to different people. Like, you might have to call up somebody, say, 'Hey, can you assemble this? Hey, can you put this together? Can you paint the body for me and get it all back before Axial Fest?'" I said, "No, I'll get it done. It's just I need to stop what I'm dealing with in life and deal and wrench on the car." So anybody who I've actually talked to in my personal life, I had truck issues last week. Didn't last long, but I had to focus on that because we were heading out of town, and then I was gone this last weekend, so there wasn't any wrenching happening. So now I should be able to get back on track and start messing with it. So, but my initial thoughts, overall, it's a really good looking kit. I mean, I know a lot of people always like bash Axial and say, "Oh, because they went to Horizon and they switched this and they switched that, and now the plastics are shittier and this is this." I mean, it's still a really well built, like the parts are really nice. So, yeah, I'm actually really excited to get this, put together. So next is I just got to think of the colors.
Pink.
Go ahead.
I think that the quality of the plastic and stuff's improved. I mean, like, I think my first like Horizon Axial purchase was at Capra, and I thought that was really nice quality.
Yeah, same here. I thought so too. I mean, I don't know why people I think what it is it's the fear that people think like, oh, you sold out to a company that's only worried about lining their pockets, so they're going to start making things cheaper and this, that, and the other.
It's not always the case though. Like Axial still has like Rich, for example, they have like
so stupid.
Yeah, like I mean,
no shit, they want to make money. Like,
yeah,
the lengths that people go
but
through,
at the same time, cutting corners costs you money too, and it can cost you your customer base. And so it's like they're not dipshits. Like they're gonna, they understand this, and like people like Randall and Rich and stuff, like they're enthusiasts. They're not going to design and turn out crap, Like, I mean, come on, guys.
As much as I don't like a bunch of the companies being owned by like a conglomerate, I will say that most of those brands since acquired, I would say Axial is probably the most prevalent. Like, it has improved.
Proline is just as stupid as it was before with some of their decisions, but
nothing's really changed with them. But like, but with Axial, I mean, yeah, the parts quality is better. I think the quality of the releases are better. Like it's. I mean, obviously, like, I like, at least I'll just speak for me. But like, I'd been critical, but like, Horizon has not hurt them in any way.
Well, no, and some of the like really nice like LOSI and TLR materials and methods of designing things has trickled down to Axial. I mean, like the shocks, for example, like on the Baja Ray and stuff. Those are the shocks, the same basic shocks that are on the Rift, and they're links. They put holes in so that you can build the links easier, having the hole through the center of the link. I mean, like, cool. stuff like that isn't, corporate not giving a crap and turning out garbage, like that's like thoughtful little things that they're trying to be better about.
People just like to say things.
Yeah. And they're afraid to change. Everybody's afraid of change.
Yeah. So. Oh, for sure.
I get it.
Another one from him, Chris Trudeau, says, this one's to me. He said, Travis, did you watch any of Silver State? And if so, thoughts on Lil Bump Podium and Pro Buggy, and that the likely favorites were shut out of the Podium and Buggy at least. I did not watch Silver State. I didn't even know Lil Bump got Podium. I'm not surprised though, because it was pretty much a guarantee. It was just a matter of when. So
that's Ungaro, right?
No. This is I don't know how old he is now, actually. No, it's this kid that races for HB.
Mason Templeman or something like that.
No, this Filong or Filong.
Oh yeah, the stick radio kid.
Does he?
I think.
Gotta find a picture real quick. I can't remember if he has
Super young.
Yeah.
Little Asian kid. Think stick radio. Yeah.
I forgot about the stick radio.
Phenom, dude.
Yeah. Just super quick. Well, anyways, yeah, there it is. Yeah, he got second pro buggy this weekend.
He's the one who kicked ass at that Mid-America race, wasn't he?
Yeah, though I would say this is probably his
achievement.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, Marco Barufalo from Italy won it. Yeah, he takes second.
Man, they had some hitters at this race.
Mason Fuller third. Yeah, I mean,
Mason Fuller, that was the name I was thinking of.
Yeah, HV's got a lot of like really fast young talent right now. But yeah, Lutz fourth, Fenn to his TQ fifth.
Wow.
Yeah, so definitely
it wasn't the typical Mayfield blowout.
No,
he wins and it's just a battle for second and third.
He's not, I don't, if I recall correctly, he's not been as dominant as Silver State as like as like Nitro Challenge.
Yeah.
He basically
Adam's sitting here going, who in the hell are you guys talking about?
But
maybe just a little bit.
Yeah, that's impressive. But yeah, like I said, that was just a matter of time.
Track looked so sick.
Yeah, I mean, he can't be much older than like,
12, 13.
13, 14, I think.
That's so rad. I love seeing.
He may not even be that old. I don't know. Like, if I recall correctly, he was really young.
It's always cool seeing young kids do really well because our RC racing, for the most part, has traditionally been like an adult thing. You just don't see a lot of kids doing it, which is weird because you would think RC car and kids, go hand in hand. But like with the racing and stuff, it's almost always older dudes, like late 20s on up. And then, to have some little Grom out there killing it is pretty rad to see because it's rare.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Dramatic pause.
All right. And then he had a question for everybody. He said, has anyone seen any of the Tamiya releases this year's Suzuka Hobby Show, the VW Golf Rally, Toyota Land Cruiser, etc.? I've not seen any of that.
I saw the Golf. That's the only one I've seen so far. That's just, I mean, I haven't like seeked it out. It's just what popped up in my feed, but I saw the Golf. It looks good. Tamiya is always on point.
Oh, wow. I'll link it to reply to him. People want to check that out. It's pretty cool. Paul Schulman asks, did any of you get the 10-3 Bronco deal? I'm loving mine. I can't get over how good the body looks.
I didn't know they had a deal on it.
Me neither.
They're not discontinuing it, are they?
I have no idea, but I think I've posted up some of what Axial or Horizon's been doing for their deals, but that one must have slipped by because I haven't even seen anything advertised from Horizon.
Interesting. I'm so far out of the loop with Axial stuff. Like the other day was the very first time that on social media, like seeing someone who owned the Proline 40th anniversary Chevy Stepside, like seeing someone in the real world owning it. I've just never seen them post it up. I'm just out of the loop with all that stuff, unfortunately. Which isn't smart of me. I mean, like business wise, we should probably be paying attention to what people are doing with Axial stuff too, but whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. From Jaden Kim says, my question is, guys, when or will you guys ever do a recording where all of you guys are in one place at the same time?
We want to. We want to do that with like live feed thing. We were talking about going down for the ASD event in the fall. I believe it's in the fall. That might be a good one for all of us to go to, because you'll probably go to that one, Adam. Especially with this being kind of like a
Yes, I will be there.
special one, I guess. I don't really know how to phrase it, but with Brandon passing,
definitely, yeah, it's definitely going to be a big one, an emotional one. Passing of Brandon. So, and honestly, there's been even rumors, and I don't want to be the one like starting any rumors, but there's been rumor that this could very well be the last one. So,
wow.
And I don't know if that's just because, I could be totally wrong. There's just been speculation that a lot of people have, just because with the way things have been going, Oscar's now in Arizona.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. He moved to Arizona 2 years ago.
Huh. Crazy.
So I remember, because it was kind of a shock when he made the announcement that he was moving. Everyone kind of was like, well, what's going to happen with ASD? Because everyone's already been gearing up for ASD. So they're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And he flew back out, did ASD. Then last year he drove out and, did the whole camping and everything, because it was up at Bear River. So yeah, we know this year is going to be a big one. But everyone's just kind of saying, like, how does, because because the founders now in Arizona, you have Eric and like Jeff Ramos. They're here in California still, but it's like, I don't know. Like I said, we can all be totally wrong, but we just kind of are speculating that this very well could be the last one, just for all the reasons.
It would be fun to go. We haven't been to an event in forever. If we could get to one where it's all three of us again, that would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Maybe we'll try, do our best. That would be neat. What about Crawl Masters? Is that even a thing anymore? What happened to that?
Honestly, I don't even know, because the last Crawl Master had to be right around, I want to say 2020 or 2021, I think was the last one I really remember. And the funny thing was, it was dumping rain. I think it was dumping rain, the last Crawl Master event.
It's just, that's usually one that you hear about. And I just kind of remembered just now that it's like, man, that was a thing and now it's not. I haven't heard anything in forever.
All right. Let's see. I think that might be it for the Facebook ones. One sec here. Okay. From Chris Trudeau on Instagram, Checkered Pass 503 says, I guess probably the first one he put. He said, "Howdy, gents. Been a while. Hope the product testing development is going well. Given that we're already through the first third of the year, opinions on the surprise product releases thus far. Keep up the great work."
Thanks.
What would be like the surprise?
I'm not sure what the surprise ones were, but
I guess you'd say like the 10 Pro is kind of a surprise. No one saw that coming. Everyone kind of just assumed it was going to be like another version of the 10.3 or another 24th scale or whatever. Kind of because that 40th anniversary one with Proline was kind of a flop, so everyone kind of had low expectations. I don't really know anything else that came out that was kind of like a total surprise shocker.
Cross coming out with the tow truck, the flatbed, that was surprising to me.
Mm-hmm. It's been a cool year for releases so far, I think.
It has. And like Cross dunked on Trax is pretty hard with that release too. Thanks, like that thing turned out really nice.
Yeah, I think it was pretty sweet.
It's funny, the Pro, like everybody's it's always been like one of those like what if things, like, you know, what if one of the manufacturers made a comp rig, blah blah blah, you know, like manufacturer needs to come out with an LC. Like I'm sure we've even had questions about it over the years. Like,
We absolutely have.
Yeah, and
people
like
ask us all the time.
to see it materialize was kind of cool, you know. It was like, but it was one of those things where it's like you're surprised, but you're not, you know. And I mean, even though it's like a brand that we don't really do anything with, like I still think it was cool that they took that leap, you know. Like
that was definitely one where it's like, okay, they're listening.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Yeah, like if there's any, you know, but it's funny though too, because like I guess if people want to be negative, they'll find a reason. But like, it's one of those things too, where somebody could be like, you know, oh, Axial's trying to blah, blah, blah by coming out with a comp rig, and they want to put these small guys out of business with LCD chassis. And, you know, it's like somebody's always going to come up with like some negative thing. But like personally, I thought it was rad.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it was a leap for them to do it, but at the same time, it wasn't that much of a risk. Like I get like what Rich was saying about, you know, like, well, we didn't think it was going to take off. Like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, it's probably going to do really well, but there's still always that chance, you know.
Yeah.
You know, they deserve a big high five for that one.
I agree. Yeah. I've definitely come around on it. That's for sure.
Yeah. I don't understand the chassis for it, the aftermarket ones, but whatever. Like that still makes me laugh. It's like, oh, you have 3 holes that the Axial one doesn't have, and they're all ones that you probably wouldn't use anyway. Good call. You know, like, come on.
Yeah. Oh, there is actually, now that I thought about like bringing up the other chassis, because I do remember one of their pros was the fact that you could something with the body post mounting, which is actually kind of interesting now that I've seen that pro body. So to everybody that wants to run that Axial pro body, and let's say you don't have a pro, you're gonna have to come up with either new mounting, or you're going to have to just ignore those pre-drilled holes, and you're going to have to put your own in there, because that body comes completely pre-cut and ready to go.
You could always put some MKS stickers over them.
You could.
It's another thing that those are good for. Did you know that MKS also makes servos, not just stickers?
Yes, I know. I run them in all my cars.
Nice. Right on. I'm surprised that you knew that.
Did you know that SOR makes decals and body wraps for some of the most popular bodies that ever been released?
SOR makes dog shit. But anyways, I don't want to slam those guys too hard. Speaking of bodies, Proline had a new release this week. Adam, wink, wink, the Coyote.
That is true. And that body actually looks pretty nice. And the
windows are huge, though. They're huge.
They are. But I do got to say, what's nice about that is they're giving you another option, because I've been saying it for I don't know how long now. The Cliffhanger was a really nice body. And the fact that they came out with it, you know, it's taking something that people want, and they're actually like, you know, delivering. So they're like, all right, let's do another pinch body. And they went with more of something that looks like a Ranger, you know, or whatever you want to say. I say it looks more like a Ranger.
I thought it looked like a Ranger. In fact, before, when I saw like I think I saw just a regular person's post, but before I ever saw the Proline one, and I actually thought it was a Ranger, because like I saw the little Ford logo down at the bottom corner of the grill, and it's exactly where it was on my 86 Ranger that I had.
Yeah, true. I think they're trying to avoid paying the copyright and all that stuff. So it's just like the Cliffhanger, we all know it's Toyota-esque,
right?
But
yeah,
they, you know, call it a Cliffhanger. So I think it's nice that they came out with that. I just wish they would have thought of it sooner, because I've always liked the cliffhanger body, but it's just like it got played out so fast that it's like, all right, I can't run it.
I have two with like minimal use that I haven't ran in I don't know how long. I do kind of want the Coyote one though. Like it's made me think like, maybe I'll run that for a while instead of the Ecto body.
Yeah, you might need to jump on that before that also gets played out. But I think, which I should look up, I want to say, doesn't J Concepts have a couple of those tuck bodies?
Yeah, theirs have really small cabs though, like Spencer and Tyler Feta. They both have some of the J Concepts ones. Like J Concepts has a Ford that looks like it was supposed to be like a mid 90s Ford and it ended up looking like an S10 or something, but
yeah, because they have the tucked 78K10 and they have the tucked 89 F250.
Then the Brodozer looking one kind of falls into that same category, I guess. I'm surprised we don't see more of those actually.
Yeah, the Gozer.
Yeah.
Which is actually kind of funny that they called it the Gozer.
That's what I have on my monster truck.
They have the Tuck 95 F-150.
I think that's the one that I thought looked like an S10.
And I believe that's it for their tucked bodies.
If they would have made the pillars just a little thicker, man, that Proline one would have looked great. Now, it's not bad, but that would have been like dialed if they would have just, like even like 3 millimeters thicker would have made a huge difference on that.
So I may be late to the party, but I think this is hilarious. When the hell did J Concepts come out with the 61 Corvair Lakewood body?
It's so ugly that I like it.
Like it just cracks me up because it's like, who says, yeah, I want to have a Corvair for a crawler?
Which honestly, like, and this probably reduces my automotive credibility by a lot, but I have never seen one of those before. I didn't know that was a thing until that body came out.
It's just, even in like that world, it's not a popular car.
It is ugly, but it's kind of cool ugly. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like that RC 4-wheel drive, like the super, super, super old Toyota Land Cruiser and like the really old looking Land Rover Defender body that came out, like just all these old ones that are really ugly, but they're kind of like cool because they are ugly. You know what I mean? Like,
mm-hmm.
That's another one that I would be super sketchy. Like just like working in this industry and knowing how fickle people are, like, and like how quickly they are to like roast stuff online. Like it would be so scary to put all that money into having a buck machined and everything and come out with a new body. Cause like it, even for manufacturers like J Concepts and stuff, it's still an expensive process just to get the stuff made to mold it, and like to do such a big gamble with something that's not very popular to begin with and isn't necessarily the most attractive thing. Like that takes some guts, man.
I'm just doing a quick like history lesson on the Corvair, and it was only produced for 4 years. And in 1965, there was a publication called Unsafe at Any Speed, and it actually brought up a conversation about the Corvair, but they said although the issue had nothing to do with the current model, being that was released and the competition from Mustang, the Corvair sales plummeted in half, and that's when they said it's time to spend our money on developing the Camaro and not the Corvair. Which we all know the Camaro went out to be one of the like hottest selling cars ever.
Whatever, dude. Chevy sucks.
funny though. It's those little decisions.
Yep.
I am not a big risk taker when it comes to business. Not at all. Like I have like probably an unusual amount of respect just because of the position that Trav and I are in for people that do things like what J Concepts did with that, just because I am such a sissy when it comes to things like that.
Well, it's funny. I mean, if you actually think about most of the stuff that's like happened like throughout history, a lot of the biggest selling like name brand things that we deal with and use on a daily basis is all from a risk.
Yeah.
I mean, Apple, you know, if it wasn't for, you know, them coming out with a computer back in whenever, nobody would have nobody would have iPhones now. If they would have never taken the risk, nobody would have an iPhone.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even when it comes down to like Starbucks being like the first, like, which is kind of funny because it's like Starbucks to me was always one of those. It was like, how did it just all of a sudden become the most popular? I don't think it's anymore, but like in its heyday, like how did it just become the most popular, like fast food coffee company?
And it's not even particularly that good, you know. I mean, it's like it's okay coffee, like it's decent, you know. They have some stuff that's like good, but I mean, not necessarily better than any other coffee stand on the side of the road, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Other than you get like biodegradable straws and stuff with Starbucks.
That's almost everywhere now.
Yeah. Risk is important.
And it gets quite.
Nothing happens without it.
It's true, but I mean, it's like, I don't know, like our shop that we had, for example, was like a massive failure. And that was me just biting off way more than I could chew and thinking that, you know, there would be enough like walk-in business to support it. And it just wasn't the case. Like almost all of our clientele was still online. So it's like, well, this was stupid, you know? So, I mean, it's like the failures really stick with me and make me very, very cautious to do anything else. Like, I don't know, like Trav and I had the discussion about after we did the brass SOA mount, we're kind of like, well, what do we want to do next and stuff? And like, both of us were just kind of like, you know what, why don't we just chill for a while and just wait? And like, you know, maybe something will come to us or whatever, but like, why don't we just take it easy and not put ourselves through the stress of developing a whole other part and stuff. And like, maybe we just get some more like scale accessories to sell instead, you know, something like that. Like just maybe, you know, increase our inventory of like just fun stuff instead of like another product necessarily, you know? So, I mean, it's like, there's always like stuff like that. And it's every single thing. Like, I mean, we're
doing other stuff too. Like I've got kind of other projects that aren't necessarily like product dev for us right now.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, at the same time, it's like, I don't know, we are like a very, very small business, you know? And so it's just every move that we make has to be like calculated and really, really thought through. And so that, and then my timid business nature to begin with makes for just, you know, being very cautious because a product that doesn't sell could absolutely tank us. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, it's, I don't know. I have that level of fear that probably really successful people don't have. They're probably much braver than I am.
Here's the way I guess I think about it, not to sound like a philanthropist or something, but the way that I think about it is that I think failure is a incredible tool for learning. The key to that is not making the same mistake twice.
Yeah.
Because really it's some of your best lessons learned, because there are so many things where you just aren't going to know until you know. And sometimes that can only happen the hard way. And
yeah, that's true.
You know, things are consistently, miscalculated. Like it just, that just happens, and it's not, you're not always going to hit 100%. So you might as well embrace it and, take away. If it works, awesome. That's really good. If it doesn't, then you have to take something away from it, because it was going to happen at one point or another. And you just, you use that for the next time. I mean, genuinely, like, it's just, you have to have that approach, because otherwise, if you're in like, play it safe mode forever, then yeah, I mean, you just don't take steps towards anything.
Yeah. There's nothing easy about it, basically.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm just, I'm not as worried about, personally, like, I'm not as worried about finding out that I was wrong.
Yeah.
Go from there. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Just one last, not a question, but one last note from Spencer Sackler on Instagram. Says, no questions this time, just want to say, hey, hope you guys are doing well, happy to see more episodes coming out.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I know we had a couple messages on the page asking when the next episode was coming out.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not even getting those. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, because we have the generic response on there. And I kind of feel bad.
Oh, right. I think that, we might need to do something about that.
Yeah, because it's funny, because the guy who commented, I think, had a question or commented on something like a month ago and got the same response. So it's kind of like funny. It's kind of funny that like there's like he's still trying, but
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, take a look at that. All right. Yeah, what else? A little bit over an hour in. Did we have anything else?
I don't know. I don't think we're missing anything new, are we?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
If we are, we'll figure it out next episode.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we should have talked about this. I didn't even bother looking at naming this time.
I looked a little bit.
Nothing exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Other than the coyote body.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's about it.
Right on.
Well, cool. Alrighty. Well, in that case, I guess we can wrap up. So thank you, everybody, for listening and sticking with us. And we will catch you guys next time.
Later.
Goodbye.